Hi everyone, my name is Mikaela. I use she, her pronouns, and I am a librarian at the Penrose Library in the Pikes Peak Library District. Today I'm going to walk you all through how to draw a few characters from Studio Ghibli. But before we get started, I did want to remind you all that copyright is a thing, and because these characters are the intellectual property of Studio Ghibli, anything we draw today is just for practice. But now that that's out of the way, I hope you guys enjoy this video.
For this project, you will need drawing paper, a pencil, an eraser, and a pencil sharpener if, like me, you are not using a mechanical pencil. To draw Totoro, start by drawing a circle in the middle of the page. Remember to draw lightly, and also that the bigger you draw the circle, the bigger the drawing will be as a whole, so keep that in mind as you're sizing things. Also keep in mind that the circle doesn't have to be perfect because you'll make slight adjustments to it later. So just do your best and then remember to turn your page if a side looks a little too flat or if you want to round out any of the corners that you might accidentally draw. Next, you're going to draw a modified egg shape around the circle. It should be rounded but still kind of flat at the bottom because you're going to turn that into Totoro's legs. And then make the point at the top pretty rounded as well because that will eventually be Totoro's head. Do your best to imitate the shape that I'm drawing here, but if you need to make adjustments, continue to do so until you have it look the way that you want it to. You can always erase, just remember to draw lightly. Next, we're going to draw in the arms and legs. Totoro's arms are down by his side, so draw a curved line on either side of the egg that extends from the top of the head and then kind of curves into the side of the egg shape. For the legs, have the bottom of the circle that you drew come to a point like a slight upside down raindrop shape, and then draw a tiny triangle to dissect the bottom line of the egg shape into two short legs. To draw Totoro's claws, draw two sort of short flat triangles at the bottom of his feet and separate them into three sections like I've done here. And then draw two claws, also kind of triangular shapes extending off of the bottom of the arms. Next, you'll draw in the ears and some other details. For the ears, draw two rounded triangle shapes just above Totoro's head and connect them to the head with two more lines on either side. These can also be a little jagged because Totoro is furry. For the eyes, draw two circles pretty wide apart on either side of the head and then draw two smaller circles inside for his pupils. The nose is an upside down triangle that's kind of wide, and then there's a slight zigzag line just above it to indicate that Totoro is furry. The mouth is a really small line just below the nose, and then you'll also draw in a bunch of boomerang shapes inside the circle at the top, kind of two rows at the top there. Last, draw small zigzag lines on either side of the circle to show that Totoro is kind of furry, and then darken all of the pencil lines that you want to keep. As you go, you can also erase any lines that you won't want to keep, such as the lines separating the arms from the rest of the body, and then the bottom of that circle, like right where it came to a point, like I'm doing here. Once you've erased all of the unnecessary lines and have darkened all of the lines that you want to keep, you are done. Optionally, you can also give him a little tiny friend right next to him at the bottom there, like I'm doing here. To draw no face, start with an oval for the head. You can make the oval slightly irregular like I'm doing, where I make it a little bit narrow at the bottom, or you can make it even. It's totally up to you. The rest of the body is pretty easy. Just draw a hood around the top of the oval and extend those lines towards the bottom of the page. For his face, draw two slightly slanted ovals for his eyes, kind of wider than they are tall, and then draw two little half moon shapes right below his eyes. You'll also draw a curved triangle shape above each eye and also one below each eye as well to finish off the rest of those markings. When you move on to the mouth, that is an irregular upside down triangle shape with a half moon beneath it. Remember to draw lightly and make adjustments when you need to, but if you have everything looking the way you want, color in his eyes and his mouth with pencil as dark as you can. You can also use a marker or another drawing utensil, but I've used pencil here just because it's what I had on hand. You'll also want to color in the rest of his markings on his face, but make sure that those are slightly lighter than the eyes and the mouth. The last step is to color in the hood and the rest of his body. The top of this should be really dark, so color that in as dark as you can with pencil or another drawing tool if that's your preference. And then it should extend down in a gradient. So as you move down towards the bottom of the page, the color should get lighter and lighter to make it look like he's disappearing. To draw Jiji from Kiki's delivery service, start with an oval for the head, a little like an egg that's been tipped on its side. Once you're done with the head, draw a raindrop-like shape extending out from the bottom of the head to block in the rest of the body. Try to imitate the shape that I'm making here. For the feet, draw 2 small ovals at the bottom of the body and then curved lines going up to indicate where the front paws are going to sit. You'll also draw a small curved line in between each of the legs to indicate the middle of the torso. Draw a smaller half moon shape on the left side, but beyond the left leg to indicate the back, where the back leg is tucked behind the front. And do the same on the other side, only it'll just be a small curved line. Once you're done with the feet, you can draw in the tail like shown. And then to finish the paws, separate the small circles into 3 roughly equal sections. For the ears, draw 2 triangles at the top of the head, one on either side, with small curved lines on the inside to indicate some detail. Draw 2 small ovals inside the head, one on either side of the larger oval, with the pupils in the middle, kind of 2 more ovals, but vertical instead of horizontal. And then once you're done with that, color in the pupils and draw in the nose, which is a smaller upside down triangle shape right between the eyes. The next step is to erase any lines that you don't need, any lines that indicate where you originally blocked in the body, or the lines separating Jiji's paws from the rest of their legs, for example. And then once you're done with that, you can draw in darken the lines with a pencil or another drawing tool of your choice. You can create little zigzag shapes while you're doing this to indicate Jiji's fur, although you can also just trace the lines as drawn if you like. The very last step is to draw in the whiskers, and once you've done that, you are finished. The forest ghosts from Princess Mononoke are also really fun to practice. To draw them, start with irregular ovals for the head, and then if you want to, you can draw in like a rough rectangle shape for the body, and then separate that into 2 arms and legs. I was able to draw the arms and legs in one line since they're pretty irregular anyway, so the rectangle is very optional. If you do block out the body using some kind of rectangle, just make sure to erase any of the lines that you don't need, and then retrace any lines that you might erase. For the face, draw 3 more irregular shapes, either circles or ovals for the eyes and the mouth, and then color them in as dark as you can, or with another tool if you don't want to use a pencil. Then trace over all of your lines, making them a little bit darker. If you want to draw more than one forest ghost, just repeat the same process with a variety of different shapes. You can either look up reference images or just see what happens if you draw a bunch of differently shaped ovals for the heads and different sized bodies. As an optional last step, you can also draw in a light tree branch for them to stand on. As a tiny bonus, here is a way to draw soot sprites. First, you just want to draw a small circle with two smaller circles inside for the eyes, and then fill in around the eyes with spiked lines that kind of come off of the circle to give them a really spiky texture. Then draw pupils inside the white circles that you've left for the eyes. You can also make them look a little mad. You don't have to just draw like exact circles. And then draw them sort of noodly, curvy noodle arms with the little stars to finish.